Hello, welcome to another poker coaching sponsored study session. We've got a very slim crew of the diehards today, so we decided to mix it up, and we're going to continue looking at additional check raise hands in this first part, and then later on we might go to the training, but we're going to do this first, just like we did yesterday. So I'm going to bring up chat. It just so happens I can see it. I'm going to bring up participants, Scott, so I can see it. You guys, and again, you guys can see the replayer. Tara, can you see the replayer?
Yep.
Okay, let's go through these. I'll do the first one, and then I might hand it over to either Skate or Tara. So, as you know, we're going to see a lot of check raising going on, which is cool because I think it allows us to look at check raising from a couple of perspectives. One, we get to see where population is finding check raise bluffs. Notice we haven't seen any yet. And two, we just get to see how they play post flop, just see the hand classes that they think are good enough to check raise bluff. Or check raise. Um, so in this hand, I think King 10 off is too early to raise here. And so Ace 3 gets to raise, which is in hijack. And really it should fold around. Ace 7 is not a defend versus hijack. We need Ace 10 off. So these are obviously rake ranges that I'm using. It's pretty tight. Your ranges are going to be different depending on your rake structure. I might be a little bit too tight because I play more live now and I'm essentially playing chip EV. So anyway, let's see what happens. All right, we get limps. We get limps. Oh my goodness. All right. This is our first decision point. So we saw this hand already, but we'll go through it again. Do you remember this hand, Tura?
Yeah. ISO is coming from the small blind.
Yeah. This hand I think is new. Yeah, this hand is new. All right, so we get here, tens, flats, everything is normal so far. We saw this hand. Let me see. You say king 7. King 7 looks new. Flat, early position, ridiculous flat. This is horrible play. Um, so let's see what happens. This is a so I would overlimp this here. This 4-4. And I would do that because I think, well, maybe it's not good. So, I mean, really the 4-4s are based on your implied odds. What I anticipate what happened here is that I would overlimp, right? Someone would ISO behind me. I would get a call from early position. And back around to me, I think I get the implied odds to call now, depending on the ISO, but mostly I just call. It's just because I have the power of position here. Not everybody's going to overlimp here. Other people are going to say this is a clear ISO, especially in this late position. Well, it's not very late, but yeah, I guess 4-4 can definitely ISO here. But we're gonna fold. That's a little tight. Okay, now let's see if Mike finds the ISO here. I think you can do either. I think you can either check, given the option, or you can ISO. He checks. I think that's fine. So it makes sense because from our history and what we've seen, if you are going to have limp traps, they're going to come from this early position. which really might be why these guys are, well, why this 10-5 is limping early position, because from his experience, he knows that from his experience, he knows that he doesn't get as many ISOs when he opens in UTG because people think it's a trap. It's more likely to be a trap in this early position, I think. So we go, our villain has got, our hero rather, has flopped well. I would not lead here, but lots of people do. Notice the equity of P6 here. Where we've got the wrap as the PLO guys like to say. Check. Check is fine. Okay, there's the bet with essentially no equity. See back doors and then over. Okay, this is a good check raise. I like this check raise. So our pot is our pot is 10. Got two. I would go to 10 here, I think. 10 to 12. Do either of you guys have an opinion about what sizing you would use here if you're gonna check raise?
With the open and straight.
No, with king 7, because this is gonna be hero. So the open-ended straight, the OESD just called the C bet. So they just called, right? So we got, I know we're looking at a replay that's different now because this is Hold'em Manager, not Poker Tracker, but yeah, so that this is he just called. We're gonna get Hero's gonna check raise here, I think. Yeah, 12 is good. I was saying 10 to 12. This is good. No way that PH should call. Folds. Now, 8-5 is in a very interesting position, right? This just becomes a game of pot odds versus equity. Your implied odds are less because you're out of position. You're playing full stack here, 100 bigs. You're being offered 29.989. Now, Hero is representing, I would say this is Hero's representing essentially maybe in a limp pot. This is very weird because you don't know what ranges are. No one's defined. Hero's is kind of representing Jack 7 plus, maybe Queen 7 plus. And so 8-5 is an interesting place out of position. He's going to under realize his equity out of position. He's essentially being given barely the right pot odds. We can see his pot odds. Well, that's not true. You can see his pot odds. Well, his pot odds are 29%. His overcard to the 7 is giving him additional equity, right? He's getting 40% equity. So, you see that he has clear equity to call, but what I'm thinking here is that I don't know how often my 8 is good. I'm thinking this is 2 pair plus because he's got any 2 cards, right? Because he check option in big blind. So I think he's probably gonna call though, which he does. Now Hero has a very interesting spot, right? Hero now has a rainbow board, no flush possible. He has flopped additional equity. Well, that's not true. Well, he has, I guess, technically, but his hand is a premium now. 8-5 still has equity to the nuts. It draws to the nuts. That's exactly 18%, right? I think so, and also P6 has a filtered range. So P6 in small blind has a filtered range Because we know that because he just called our check raise. Now, we also know this is likely a draw because he doesn't, if he had like 6, 7, if he had slope, if he had twos, he might re-raised. Not always, but sometimes, especially out of position. So he checks. So I think Hero is best. And also Hero has to think that he is dominating a lot of it. If P6 has the last 7, which is hard to do, there's 3 sevens already that we know of. He's got a very, very good 7, right? This he might have the ace 7, but it's doubtful. I think you polarize here. I think you go for thick value. I think we're in thick value space. So I'd probably go. Well, what size would you guys use? Skate or Tora? Do you have any ideas about what size you would choose here if you were Hero, which is Mike? What size would you use? Or maybe you check trap, which is fine too.
Mm,
Do you guys have any opinions about the size you'd use?
Size, I mean, you know, it is a limp pot, so they could, okay, so they could have some straights wrapping around the 6, 7, right? And they could also have a 7,
Great draws, yeah.
not likely. Yep.
Mhm.
But but more likely in limp pot, right? So your kicker is way good. So yeah, I mean, there is better merit for for betting versus checking.
Okay, what size would you like? You're gonna bet. If you were Mike, Hero, what size would you use for your continuation of your aggression after you see bet flop?
Well, I'm not gonna go too small. I'm not gonna go too big as to deny equity, but maybe we do want to go bigger in case they do have a 7. Actually, scratch that. Never mind. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I guess 20, somewhere like 20 plus.
Yeah, I like it, dude. I like it. Tura's in your headspace. So you're like 66%, Tura's like 75. I think both of those are fine. Let's think about SP. Okay, so let's get a little bit more geeky here, right? Let's think about SPR versus SPR here and how that affects geometric. So what's our SPR here?
I think a little bit over
SPR,
3.
yeah, exactly. Let's just rough it 3, right? So if we were gonna choose, so when you look at solver, oftentimes, not always, like in anything in poker, it's not always. Um, let's think about so if you look, there's a really good blog by GTO Wizard you guys might want to see. Just put in SPR GTO Wizard blog. It's pretty good. Um, so I'm gonna pull this up to find it. Here we go, German sizing. So a 3E. So we're now thinking 2E, right? I've got to close these. So 2E at 3 is 80% pot. So I don't think we have to memorize it. I think you just look at it and you get better and better at ballparking it. So you think you want to have less than around or less than a pot size best bet on river because you're going to want to get this all in. So 3 is 80% pot. Just, yeah, I think it's fine. Just go to 75. 75 is half would be 15, half of that 7. So like 22, 23. That's the way I would think about it. I want to go, yeah, I've got 23. So if we do 23, that gets us to 46. 46 plus 30 is 76. And then we have about a pot size bet left back. We like that sizing because I think not just for solver reasons, but also because we want this guy to We want this guy to come along and we want to put them all in. Now we don't know he has a draw. If we knew he had a draw, of course we don't know what he has. We knew we had this specific hand, we really wouldn't use that sizing. So let's see what our hero decides. Hero decides to trap. So trapping is fine here. And I would trap this sometimes. But this is just happens to be one hand where it's not ideal, right? Because he's realizing his equity. This is one of the drawbacks of trapping, is that you're allowing P6 to get a free card, and you're not so happy about that. The way to avoid that is to think about think about range versus range. Now it's very hard to understand what his range is in this limp pot, but it is easier to understand what his filtered range is when we do this. When we check raise big, right? We check raise 6x. We're offering him 30% pot odds, which you can see here. And he chooses to call. So we know he's got a filtered range. He might have two pair. Probably not. He might re-raise. But he might just have the 7, but we're blocking it. He might have a stubborn 6. Might have 6 with a backdoor straight or backdoor flush. But the big thing is that we filtered his range. And we also got to think about what his draws are. Now here it's easy to do, I think. Let's disregard backdoors. Because we know that there's straight draw. The most obvious draw is one that he has, which is a straight draw. Boom, he calls. And then we check. And I think checking is fine. I think that trapping was fine here. And he does not get there. And, well, see, there's the other thing. He now decides to donk at it. Now, it's not a dunk, it's actually, I guess, a lead. So the hero actually did make more money here by inducing a bluff. Kind of a clip. Okay, I'm with it. So, I think now our pot now is 50 bigs. Got SPR of 2. Shoving is fine here. I mean, so 2, 3, so 4, 5 is all we're really scared about. 4, 5 is he's certainly able to have. But I don't think we're scared. It gets harder here because again, you got to think about yeah, 4, 5. It's gonna
He
call check
he
raise.
he might as well had us beat already on the turn with a set of deuces or sixes.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
so I don't think shoving makes sense. I would probably just call.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So you're saying that the boats are possible here? You have to
Yeah,
give him,
because
you have to give him, um,
the only thing that will probably call us that we have beat is a 7, which we block heavily. So I think we mostly only get called by better hands
I think
if
that's a
we
good
shove.
point. I think that's a good point, Toro. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I see your point. Which is what our hero does. Okay. Who wants to go next? Gator Turo, what do one of you guys want to do one?
Sure. Turo, you want to go first?
You can go first.
All right. So the replayer is sort of correct, right? I mean, for the most part. Okay.
Correct in what way?
Positions, button, big blind.
Yes.
Okay.
So cut off, P1 is cut off. Hijack, low jack, UTG's ace jack. Cut off, hijack, low jack, I guess it's UTG plus 2.
Okay. Well, P7 can open here. Ace jack off in this position. See, yeah,
Yeah,
they could open, and then it's gonna get should be defended by the deuces and the big blind.
Yeah, not so 8-9 is a short stack. What do you think the 9-8's gonna do?
Well, I'm not sure how they play, but A9 is kind of far down in range to shove. I mean, I think they're going to be shoving maybe like their single pairs, ace X, maybe king X, king queen, but 8-9, I think it's going to fold.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna flat here, my prediction, because they're playing a short stack
Okay,
and they want to see flops, which is
true.
a horrible play, as we know. He doesn't have the implied odds to play
And
his hand.
Yeah,
and I think it's a mistake.
It is. It's a mistake for him to flat here. And then twos are gonna come along. So they have hero's gonna come along. So there's the flat. I think we all are down with twos. All right, this is Skate's hand. So I'm
yeah.
gonna uncharacteristically shut up and say this is our flop.
Deuces
Uh,
never loses.
Deuces never loses. So we're gonna clearly we're gonna check now.
Yeah, I think check raise is if P7 does c-bet. I think with bottom set we can check raise deuces, especially with the flush draw out there and no
Yeah.
diamond. Oh, a diamond is already out there, so scratch that. Okay, so check bet with ace check because we do have this board is good for us. Plus we do have draws.
So okay. I would
But at the same time, we are multi-way, so that's my
yeah.
in the sandwich. So that's my my second thought.
Yeah, we are in the sandwich. You know, I think I would always I would mostly check here. The other thing to think about is what is in this flatting range, right? So this is like these like middling connecting cards, these like straightening cards. Do they connect to flattening ranges? And I think they do. Hey Dean, how you doing, man?
Good.
It's a small group today.
Mm.
And you get to listen to my boring voice for a long time. By the way, guys, Dean was my first study partner going back, I don't know, like pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Um, and so and by the way, guys, Dean's going to Vegas. How many days?
Just 3.
Good luck. Good luck in Vegas.
Thanks.
So here, yeah, so well, my point was that I think that this when you think about a flatting ranges from the fish at P8 and even from Hero, you're gonna have a lot of connectivity, I think, when this on this texture in a flatting range. But you know what? With all that said, I was listening to Bart Hansen, and Bart Hansen was like, yeah, I see that here a lot against these wide ranges. Because these ranges are wide. So all right, so let's see what so P7 decided to check. And then we get this. Now you are Hero in the big blind with your dream set. What would you like to do here, Skate?
Okay. Mm. They went in about half pot here.
Yeah.
It's kind of large. It's kind of like kind of large enough to disincentivize me from check raising a little bit. So maybe I'm gonna do because of that size. It's not much of a difference, but maybe I'm gonna do with the other person in the pot as well. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna be doing more calling than actually diamond draw out there. I don't know. What do you think? I think that's okay. In real life, I am probably. I think we can check raise. There is again, like I mentioned, there is a queen out there. Top pair. There is a draw out there. Draws. So yes, we can check raise. But should we to the size?
Yeah, so of course, you asked me what I would do. Of course, I have an opinion. I have an opinion about everything, for better or worse. So I think the theory behind this, which I'm no expert on, but that's what student led um study group. The theory is that we really like check raising with this hand class, which is sets, especially these middle into low sets, because we're unblocking all their value, right? So we're unblocking queen 10, we're unblocking ace queen, we're unblocking the draws. We want calls from the draws. They're gonna get there sometimes, but most of the time we're gonna make a lot of money. So often we're gonna fast play this. Um, and we're gonna fast play it again because we're unblocking and we've got a lot of equity. You can see it here. Hero's got 83%. P8's got 17%. Um, that's like that kind of equity level is like get it in level, you know, in a big way. Also, I think we fast play more multi-way. We maybe are more enamored with the thought of equity denial from multi-way when we are heads up. So that's my opinion. Anybody else have an opinion about
No, I think
slow
it's
playing versus fast playing the set?
I like what you
I
said. Yeah,
Like
all those
play.
points.
I agree. Also, I think it's very valuable if we get player 7 to fold ace jack or
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think we like equity denial multi-way.
uh,
I think we like equity denial multi-way because it just, and also I think we like reducing complexity. I think a heads up pot is, poker's a complex game and the complexity is multiplied multi-way. And if we have a pot heads up, we know a little bit more about where we stand.
Also, not bad to try to get some money in before the board gets too scary for somebody to call you down with,
Yeah, yeah,
like a
and this is always a
jack,
valid
ace,
argument for
king,
fast playing.
nine, diamond, all scary.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of cards here that
there's
can kill our
just
action.
one thing that the initial better is a short stack.
Oh
So
yeah, true, true.
And that's a good point. So maybe we slow play more. You're a really good point
Or maybe
that
we
yeah,
just click
I
it.
didn't
True.
think of.
Maybe we just click it.
Maybe we click it, or maybe we slow play because we really want to keep ace jack in. So
yeah,
in a way, P8 doesn't really, his stack size is important here. We don't really care about his stack size. His SPR is approaching 1, right? Pots now after best. So you have a really good point. So, her, cheers, mate. I think you're spot on. I think what we want to do is flat here because we want to keep in ace jack. We don't know it's ace jack. We want to keep in his range because there's
yeah.
so much more to harvest here. I think you're spot on.
I like it.
But our villain chose a more of a clickback.
I
So
like it.
he's adjusting, I'm sorry, hero, because he's adjusting to P8's stack size and wanting to keep in ace jack. So all right. So if you're ace jack here, you've got a gutter and 2 overs. What are you doing?
I'm folding.
You're folding. What about you, Skate?
We have one over.
Yeah, I'm definitely folding, especially versus this little min click thing, which
I'm
which I agree with. I mean, I would prefer slow playing, but I don't mind min click.
I'm I'm mostly folding because short stack might just shove it in, so then we have to call
Yeah,
more
that's a really good point.
than
So we
this.
have we have this guy just might run it. Say, okay, let's run it. So I think so. I wish we knew how to do polls. I don't know how to do a poll, but we can. So, got 4 people here. I think that Tur's very good point that this P8, our post-flop aggressor, is on a short stack, so we don't care as much we do about P7. Give you an excellent point. And so, I think we're incentivized to slow play here because we want to keep in ace jack.
I mean, what if, yeah, ace jack, because we can see it, but what if he has king queen, or what if he has queen 10, or what if he has ace queen, or what if
Well,
he has ace
let's run
five
through
of
each
diamonds,
example. Let's run through
ace
each
10 of
example.
diamonds, what if he has ace jack of diamonds? What if
Well,
he like there's so many hands that he can still call with.
Well, what if he has queens? I mean, of course he's got hands that are going to kill us, right? Of
I'm
course he
not saying the
does.
cans that kill us. I'm saying he has tons of hands that he can call a raise with still. Like we're just seeing ace jack and like how can we keep that in? But there's like a ton of hands that he can still call with.
Well, yeah, but there's also a ton he can't, right? So
And
I
we're
think,
worried about keeping
well,
like
just like
his
anything,
trash in
Dean, just like
or a
anything
gutter.
in poker, there are 6 facets to look at it, right?
He's not folding jack king, is
No,
he?
he's not folding. No, he's not folding Jack King. He's not folding Jack King. So I guess your argument is that you would prefer a fast play, right?
I just saying I don't mind his click just because of that. There's so many hands that he can still call with.
Okay, we don't even know what he does yet because we haven't gotten there. Yeah, I see your point. I see your point.
yeah, I mean,
I think your point's totally valid. Let's see what happens. Okay, yeah. So he folds. So he's a good player. He understands this aggression is nutted AF multi-way, right? When someone makes this play multi-way, they're going to be pretty far up in their range. It's very hard for someone, I think, here, and you guys could disagree with me. It's very hard for someone to do this with the low equity bluff, like let's say like
You know,
10-9 or whatever, 10-9 of
in the
with
cash
a
game,
backdoor diamond.
in the cash game masterclass, it said like you don't mind playing more straightforward multi-way with your good hands.
And I think that's an excellent point. My only argument is that this hand is really, really good. And this is a short stack. He gets a short stack. So we don't really care about his hand as much. So Skate, it's now you. Let's see what our guy does. Okay. So Skate, you got a call on your check raise. Skate, I'm sorry we've co-opted your hand a bit.
it's cool.
And so we go to turn. He has now increased his equity. Let's see where his equity went from.
The jack ace is
17 to
crying right
23.
now.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear you. What, say it again, Dean?
I said that jack ace is crying right now.
Oh yeah, good point. Um, what would you like to do with your hero?
If he has it, he has it. We're gonna put it in here, put them all in, and I think he's gonna call.
I think that's right. That's what I would do. Come on in.
Yep.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And he calls
Call.
off. Let's see. It's just kind of interesting. He's not quite getting the equity. The pot odds are 26% here. His equity's 23%. He's just not quite there. And does our hero hold?
Yay!
Yes, hero. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna talk about slow playing again here, and then we'll move on. Because we also have to think we're 23% to boat up here. We'd cooler this guy. We'd get all if we flatted here, I'm clearly being results oriented, and that's naughty. But if we flat here, right, we keep him in, and then we get to a beautiful place when we boat
Well,
up.
the thing is also our hand is really good for now, and a lot of cards that come on the turn might.
Yeah. And that's another good argument for fast playing, is that cards can kill our action.
Uh,
All
And
right,
then we can't keep game
so
on the turn. We have to hero call and hope we suck out.
yeah, exactly.
And then we do, and then we're happy.
So, Dean, you want to do a hand?
Sure. King 6 with the short stack will probably raise. Is no, wow.
Play some discipline.
I don't. Yeah, King Queen will definitely raise. 3-bet. I would hope.
What size would you use here?
3x.
Yeah.
No,
Uh-oh.
no. Spicy flat. Hero definitely calling though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Suited and
Yeah,
gap booted.
yeah. Let's look. Let's look real quick. Can you see my browser?
Yep. Or I can see the GTO wizard. Yep. Like 7-5, I would think for sure is like a
Yeah.
sure call, right?
Um,
Or might be the edge.
I think we're probably, I think it's my guess is it's actually a fold.
Hmm.
It's going to be on the edge, though. It's going to be cusp. Oh, nope. Yeah, it's cusp, but it's call. Good call, Mike. All right. You can see the replayer again. So double suited gappers here, right? Good enough to call,
Yep.
even in this high rake environment. Multi-way. We got such beautiful implied odds in this hand class, in this region. Okay, so this is Dean's hand, right? Yeah. Let's go to a flop, gents.
Hmm.
All right. I assume you're not gonna dunk.
No. Nope. Check,
Uh
check,
P1, what would you do if you were P1 here?
check.
As our initial
I
aggressor?
check
Yeah.
like all I always check like out of position or in this middle spot in I probably check too much in this position, but I way over check here.
Yeah, in theory, we're supposed to check here a lot, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's I think it depends on your group, right? I think it depends on how wide their ranges are, and it depends on
Or how strong their flats are like this.
yeah. I mean, it depends on a lot of things. And so good point. So I don't know. So check I think is fine.
Hmm.
He checks. The second best hand bets,
Mm,
and then you're 7-4 here. So you've got middle pair, backdoor straight. What are you doing?
yeah, just call. I can
Yeah, I
see a
think that's
fold though
fine.
too. Oh,
Ah,
that's spicy, but I don't hate it either.
Mike, get
The
on. Get
the
on it,
equity,
dude. Mike finds the check raise. It looks like it's gonna work.
the check raise with equity multi-way is always
Yeah, it's a
hot.
very well, you know what? It kind of makes sense in a way, right? Because you got to think that his P2's range is ostensibly capped. It certainly has fives, fours, and twos, but whatevs. This range is much better for Hero. Here's the only one here that can have, well, in theory, Hero is the only one here that can have a straight. Not true, because these guys can have the wheel. So
Yeah,
forget what I just said.
and all
But
the sets. They can see
so
all
they
the
can
sets.
he's the only one who can have 6-3 suited. I'll say that much. In theory. It is gonna work.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Do you
This
think
is
he has like ace X of hearts?
so I
Like
think it's
talk
important.
himself into
Let's see how Hero plays here. But first we're gonna look. All right, so you are now Hero. Dean, what would you like to do after your aggressive play on flop?
the jack didn't really change anything.
I agree.
So we're not worried about like too many jacks, right?
Well, you got to think what. So he does have some
He
jack
has like
hearts that
ace X that calls. Maybe some ace jack.
he's got some jack hearts that call that kind of aggression, right?
Mm-hmm. Some.
but that's it.
And like an ace jack, maybe. That's like ace of hearts, jack.
Yeah, because he's got the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
But I still don't think he's like super scary. There's no jack queen, jack king, stuff like that. We're
So
still
what do you do
ace
if your hero
jack.
here?
Uh,
Excuse me, guys.
and that'd be like maybe just bet a little under half pot, like 40%.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, I think that's good. So I think in theory, this is going to be a lot of B75ing. Um, we might check uh,
Something bigger.
with some,
I just didn't
we
know if
might
we go
check
GL.
with some showdown value. Hey Sutton, how you doing? So yeah, it goes about a B75, this looks like. And I think this is going to fold out our
Yeah, I'll
naughty
probably
ace
fold out.
king.
But still, if he called and then we'd be on the river with a crazy SPR,
Yeah, it would be. We'd probably barrel.
it'd be like 49. He'd have 49 big blinds left, and there'd be like 80 in the pot,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
90.
All right, so Sutton, just to get you caught up, we started with a small group today. We don't have Scotty or Mike. So I've
Sun just leaves after you
I've
tell him that.
I've mixed it up and I said we're not going to do trainer today on this Tuesday. We're going to do some check raised hands, which are from all cards face up from Mike. Um, who would like to go next? I can take this one. I haven't done one, I don't think. All right, so we are shorthanded here. Pre-flop, it's really hard for me to understand what's going to happen here. This must be a blind versus blind hand. So
Nah, that flop.
yeah, 9 high flop might be interesting. Yeah, so this is check around. Let's see. Here we go. I think this is a default defend.
Hmm.
There's our 10. Check. He's gonna check raise this.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's his gutter.
With no club.
This is this is kind of a high level move. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So this is, I think this is a fine play. If we were to put this in solver, we'd probably see this. I think this is an exploitative play. I mean, obviously he's got a hand that you can check raise with, but I think that not this is high level. This is a good player. This is not a check raise I think you see from population. I would argue this is probably one of the better check raises we've seen. And also
There's so many other check raises we have, though. I don't know if we need to use non-club.
I think the
That's not.
argument for it is that ranges are very wide here. And so because ranges are very wide, we get to widen our check raise. Also that a check raise is a tool that is not often used by population as a bluff. So it feels more nutted than it is. Also, probably that in position does have miss c-bet bluffs that they have in their range, especially in blind versus blind, where it's a very blind versus blind, where it's a very wide range versus wide range in SRP.
But are they like? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that would be my argument. I like this play. It's a little gangster, but I think it's in there. Should we look at it? We can look at it. Let's look at it. Can you see the solver, guys?
Yeah.
Cool. We'll close these windows. Raise 10-9. Call.
A sliver of 3-bet.
Queen of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of hearts. Um, Yeah, so this is, I think this, whenever I look at these, I just think this is an example of how wide these ranges are. Because we've got all these different, essentially, it's very hard to see any kind of heuristics or patterns here. In this configuration, which we can see here, because we're like,
Like
you
a
know, if we
king
look
nine
at
off
breakdown
is
here, we're like betting across all different equity levels. If that's even a term.
king nine off probably does check raise. It likes to bet a lot. Look,
Check.
it like bets heavy.
And
King
shows a
nine.
third, which I'm sure is going to be in the third is not used often. This is actually this heavy check, right? I think if we looked at range versus range here, this probably hits our range, both our ranges pretty well. I don't think there's anyone with a range advantage here. Eh, out of position does because they're the uncapped range, we're the capped range. But I think, yeah, I think this just, I don't think this really benefits either. So we chose a size that's fine here. Now, this is where our question is, right?
Check
Where
the
are the
range
check
size
raises coming
after
from?
we.
So let's just look at our hand class, or our particular hand first. King nine off. It's in there, right? We want, this guy's pushing the envelope a little bit. We
With a
want a
club.
club. I don't think he has
Yeah.
a club. No,
No, he doesn't.
but it's definitely, I mean, there are slivers.
That's what I was saying. There's like so many other check raises we have with one club or two clubs.
So what would you like to check raise here?
Well, I mean,
Get-
king of clubs 9x would be, or like it shows, is way better
Okay, I can
with
see
one
that.
club,
Yeah,
because we
sure.
can
Yeah.
still end up bluffing if the club comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if this guy's using, essentially, if this guy's using an exploit, he knows that people overfold.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's just look at what our percentage of check raising is here. It's quite high. Well, that's not that high. I don't know.
All
I
my
don't know
check
what the
raises are
normal is
definitely
here.
nutted.
But
So
we've
you
got
just
essentially
fold them.
about, what is that? We've got 9% check raise here. So let's just look at it real quick. Yeah, overcards, obvious, sets, obvious.
The 5x is spicy.
Yeah, there's gonna be some weird ones in here, of course.
Probably 5x of clubs.
There's some interesting ones down here. 8, 9, no club. And then obviously value range. Could be sets. Tens, fives. Queen, jack, jack, span of clubs. So yeah, it's in there, but it's slivers. This guy's finding the sliver. I got respect for the sliver. He's finding the aggressive sliver. I'm digging it. But I see your point that there are certainly other check raises we can choose from. I do like this kind of aggressive play. And I mostly like it because I would like to incorporate it into my game more. So we get call, obviously with middle pair. Here is sticking around. Interesting. So I wonder who, I think this card probably is better for medium position. Let's see what we're supposed to do since we got the solver up. Not supposed to. Let's see what solver does. Let's put it that way. So what was his check raise sizing?
3.
Like a 3. Check, big blind. Bet, small blind raise.
Do you ever look at like how the equity changes after a bet? Like when
Sure, we can look at
big
that.
blind bets, it like changes the equity. I thought that was kind of interesting when I saw that last time.
Yeah, we can look at that. So we'll see how it does it here. So obviously small blinds range is going to be,
No, I mean
it's
like
going to be,
after the check. I mean, even on this, like
well, if I
it'll
show it this way,
change
we can
with
see
the
it
bet.
historically, right? We can see how it changes.
Mm.
So we can look here, right?
This is the flop.
That's where we start. Big blind bets. We,
Which changes the equity huge, and then
I don't think it changes quite. It's
call.
kind of, It's
Like
like
we
a click after. I'm not, it's kind of a click after. So then here it is. Now it
did in
changes,
the
right?
call. Yeah.
We got the range. So this is essentially what happens. The equity advantage, I would argue probably the nut advantage also switches to us.
Yeah, because we fold all our trash and we just keep all our good stuff after that check raise.
Yeah, we're both filtered, but
Mm-hmm.
small blind has got a much better range here because um they're gonna have bluffs, of course, because this is solver, but they're gonna have a much more nutted range. And this, if you think about human beings, this is probably, I don't know, I'm gonna throw a ballpark it like 10%, maybe 20% higher. Because they lack bluffs with this line. Okay,
And human
call.
beings might end up with more ace X here because they might check raise a lot more ace X
Yeah,
clubs,
yeah.
you know?
Well, we'll see where this changes it. So we go to, well, we know we're betting. We're hardly ever checking. So this is not a card that reshifts equity back to in
Mm-hmm.
positions calling range, right? In theory. Our nutter range is going to continue. And it also might be because we're still working in blind versus blind. But well, this card moved equity back to kind of more of an equilibrium, more like a 50-50. But he's gonna bet. So the king nine is our hand of choice here. So it looks like king nine is mixing it up.
With the king of clubs.
So we still have diamond spade, right? Diamond spade is definitely
Yep,
betting
keep
here.
going.
And he's choosing a bunch of different sizes. Let's see what happened in game. He goes for it. Now this is, I don't know if this, how much is this sizing a thing?
He donked?
This sizing is a,
Oh, he check
well, he's the
raised.
check
Oh,
raiser, right?
Yeah.
He's a check raiser, so he's going
Leaving
to
it
see bet his check raise. Now this is a very good play. Either this is a very good player or he's cheating, one of the two. Because my default is that I go to a B75 because I've now made an aggressive play and I polarize my range. I have a card which I think probably helps my range. I'm not sure. I certainly have straight draws and combo draws that have made this play. So does Hero. I have that same combos he called. But I would have found I would have either checked or found a bigger size here. Probably if I was going to choose to gangster this low equity check raise, I would probably go to like 15 here. But this guy's essentially matching solver here. Because he's chosen around a 6.6. And that's the preferred bet size. He does also have this polarizing range too, right? Which is probably something that I would be closer to. Actually this one. He's not using here. He's just really polarizing on this. Solver's really polarizing on this. So Hero is doing exactly what he should do, I think, to this sizing, which is calling. And then so let's think about how you think about this hand if you're Hero. Let's think about how you think about this seven of diamonds if you're Hero. And you're trying to hold on with your marginal pair in the check raised hand. So how are you guys thinking about this?
the flushes didn't get there.
Yeah. So I mean, it comes down to one question, right? Is this a brick or is this completing equity?
The brick.
Yeah, I think it's a brick. And in addition, I think it's not necessarily, we also have to think that P3's check raising range, because we're playing anonymously on ignition. We don't know his history, so we got to think that
Mhm.
the way I would look at this is that I think he's quite nutted often. Because check raise bluffs are not really something that are used often.
I would definitely be worried about like ace of clubs X, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So
He might be
here.
giving up on queens though. You know, if he check raise a queen,
Yeah.
he might give up on a queen on the river
So let's
here.
see what he does. So what would I do if I am P3? So I bet small, right?
Let's say
Let's
you
see
have
what
queen
solver
queen
does.
on
Solver
the
does take the
turn.
P33. What does 10-9 do here? 10-9 is going to stick around to this small sizing, I think.
I mean river.
Pure fold. Look at that. We're out. We're outie. We just do not want any part of this. This ace is must be good to. Maybe it's really good for small blind because small blind has so many. It's got ace queen. We don't have ace queen, right? Small blind has. I think ace queen is a good example. So
Maybe the
maybe what's
nine
going
bluff
on
like
here is that
nine
this
jack.
this card is really good for the out of position check raiser, and because of that, we are going to have our small which would lead to the small continuation bet, right? Too. So the small continuation bet is kind of saying sometimes in Solverland, I want to keep your range wide in position. This is a card that's really good for me. So because of that, I'm going to keep your range wide, and I'm going to use a small bet because
Mm-hmm.
I want you to call. So we get this. We're going to be off solver now. Except we have 10-9 suited, so that's fine. 7 of diamonds.
Sliver.
Yeah. And what's he doing with his king 9 specifically?
Like king queen suited. Gives up.
Yeah, his
50-50.
king 9 suited is king 9. So this is always something I find interesting. King 9, go to breakdown, right? We're down. Our king high has got no equity. It's got 15% equity. I guess it's got king high has got a little bit of equity against probably like his flush draws. Like impositions, flush draws, and stuff like that. But this is also, I think, a really important lesson. Tura, have you ever? I know that Dean has listened to my lectures about breakdown and what they tell us. I know Skate has heard them 100 times. Tura, have you ever heard my lecture about what this particular screen tells us in GTA Wizard?
Maybe one time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what it does is it tells us. Sorry, I got distracted, guys. It tells us, I think, a beautiful story about how we polarize, right? So this represents this. Let me see if I can get the there. That's what I want. This represents all our hands going up from the left, up to the right, increasing by equity, right? Up here is our nutted combos. These are gonna be all straights. Straights are the nuts here. And then so we're shoving pure with our nutted combos out of position. And then we go down here. And we are getting we have no equity down here. So we're getting shoves here. So this really,
Push
I think,
draws.
represents the beauty of how we polarize when we bluff. This middle region where we do have showdown, ace king, ace 4, we're using a small size. But down here in our bluffs, we're mixing in the small size to protect, but we're also primarily using a shove to match our thick value up here. So I always like looking at this breakdown because it's telling me so much in a pretty little picture how I polarize my range. So, we're over here, small blind, And what now? We never even went and figured out what he did. So what does small blind do? So I think small blind's gonna go for it. I don't think he's gonna in game here. You're supposed to almost 3x shove in theory. Because we've got nutted combos, right? We're saying our king jack got there. But I don't think he's gonna do that. I think he's gonna choose a different size. Because I don't think he needs to do that. I think you rarely see it from humans, including professionals. Because I don't think with humans the risk reward is there as opposed to the solver. So he chooses this kind of nondescript. I'm choosing to fold out your busted FDs. So given these pot odds, I think our hero will call. He folds. That's fine. He's folding because he was trying to improve. And he wasn't able to do it. Okay. That was a long-winded one. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna have to stop a little bit early today. Just got a message. I gotta take care of some work stuff.
No worries,
So, but I got some more time. So who else would like to go overhand? Have we've all gone overhand, right? Dean, you
I
wanna go?
haven't.
Dean, you wanna go overhand?
Skate or anybody else? Sutton? They haven't done it.
Sutton is departed. It's just us four.
Nobody else. Everybody else. I don't care. If I'm next, I'll go.
All right, man, it's yours. How does this hand go?
Jack, Queen raise, and Ace 8 defend probably. I don't know about play 3 though. Just broken stack. But yeah, definitely Jack, Queen. Yeah.
Ah, we're gonna have some freaky. We're getting our limp freak on, Dean.
I don't know what to do from here on out. I'm
I
lost.
know and that's fine. But I mean, obviously we
know
face
the
limps.
I don't
So
know the limp ranges and stuff, you know.
yeah, so broken stack limp.
Limp. This broken stack probably will limp too, I bet.
I think, yeah, over limp
Yeah. Fold.
and option.
Like I don't hate a squeeze here.
No, I don't hate it
The
either.
over limp is super weak, and the original limp's pretty weak too. I mean, we see it's not super weak, but it is because they're not like limping tons of value, I bet. Yeah, exactly, skate. Limp ranges are trash.
So we see over and over again, isn't it? Limp ranges are trash. But you know what? This is actually a case where we have a hand that would probably call an ISO. Let's, we get an over limp. We see where this is
Now we're
going.
check raising, yeah.
So I assume that the
Check.
check is hero.
Check, and then Jack 10 will. Oh wow.
So we
limp
see this a lot,
overbet.
right? We see this, I see this over and over again. I don't know if you see him in tournaments, Steen, but I'm curious, Tura. This sizing I think is really common. And not really common, but these big, large sizes from a limper happen where they overbet or they bet pot. Do
Just
you ever
on
see this in
shitty players.
tournaments, Steen?
No. A limp, and then they overbet on a multi-way pot. No, I don't see it.
Okay.
Especially
So
with this this size too. It's pretty wild
yeah, it's true. All right, your hero, what do you want to do?
for his stack size. I mean, if he had like 200 big blinds, probably be better. This is probably where we check raising, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So your SPR is 16, 32. So your SPR is around like four and trash, 4 and change rather.
4, that'll be
It's kind of an interesting spot. The SPR 4, like we're in, this is kind of like why I like doing these. Because we're kind of in, like, no, so, I mean, unless we made a custom solve,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're not gonna
there's
see this in GTA Wizard, right?
no, no.
But we're gonna see this stuff in game. We certainly are.
Like they might go 3/4 pot max for their this bet maybe in GTO.
Well, let me throw out a crazy idea to you guys, to Tara and Skate, and you, Dean. And Dean, by the way, it's really good to have you because I don't think we've talked in a while.
I know.
Um,
Last week I was here.
and you're sounding great, you're sounding healthy, and you're gonna have a good, I guarantee you're gonna have a good time in Vegas.
Expecting
Um,
them to win.
and so, can we throw out a crazy idea to you guys? What about, um, shove?
Yeah, I don't hate a shove, honestly.
Is a
I
shove
mean,
simple? Tara, what do you think of a shove here? Give me your honest opinion,
Uh,
Tara.
I was thinking about it as well.
But
Uh,
tell me if you think it's shit.
I I don't think it's the best play.
That's one of the reasons I enjoy you in this group talk, because you're quite honest, which is exactly what we need. And I think you're right,
I
because
I, I
our
probably
equities,
wouldn't even raise this.
you would not check raise this.
No, not an overbet.
Yeah, the overbet is important here. I think what happens here a lot, well, I think the overbet's important, and I think what happens here a lot is that, um, we
there's
think that it's
too much
broken stack,
trash.
so we simplify the game. And we, just shove. I would shove here 20 bigs. I would
You have
shove
no
here
bluffs to
if he
shove.
had 20 bigs, the equivalent of 40 bucks live, I would shove.
Yeah,
If he had
yeah.
50 bucks, I would shove.
So you think top pair, top kicker is kind of pushing it with versus this 37 big blind stacked up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
yeah,
in a
I think you're
tournament, it's
right.
not bad.
I
I think
mean,
you're right.
I'm kind of like torn between yeah, shoving and
So then you
maybe
have
not.
to now it gets very interesting with SPR. Let's go through our SPR arithmetic, which is I'm frankly not very good at it. So our SPR is 4, right? So if we were not, I think we're supposed to go around. I think we're supposed to go around 50% pot. But it's a check raise pot. I don't know if this really applies, but I think I would go, doesn't apply. I think I would go, so, okay, let's just do the old fashioned way.
We
So
go
if we go to
12.
12, that's 24 in, plus the pot, that gets us to
The 29.
32, and we shove turn. So maybe maybe you turn this into a 2 street game, where you're like, I go to like 15, 30 plus. Yeah, maybe it's a 2 straight game. But this is Dean's hand, so I'm gonna shut up. Dean, what are you doing?
Yeah, like the 12 too, but I don't hate the shove either, just because we have like a ton of bluffs that we could like put in that same shoving range that are like draws, 9-10 type stuff, 7-9, 5-7,
Yeah,
4-5
yeah.
type stuff, like diamonds. We have like a ton of bluffs that we can, but I don't like hate this size either.
Well, we guessed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, Hero does spend time in the same study group. So he found the size.
Yep.
Queen Jack. Why is Queen Jack calling him?
No idea.
What is Queen Jack doing here? Jesus.
I wouldn't even call a queen jack of clubs here. It's stupid.
This is such horrible. Well, this is great. I mean, this is why I make money. We go through Solver, we bring up Solver, and we go through Solver and we look at blocker types and stuff. And like, we look at suits and what suits are doing what. That's not how we make money in poker. This is how we make money in poker.
Yeah.
We play bad players. So he calls,
And that sucks.
and now we're just, it doesn't, it doesn't really matter because it does really suck. This is a horrible card.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Hmm. Maybe if we had like the ace of diamonds, eight, we can bet, but I think we should check. Keep some strong hands in our check range too. Our check raise check.
Yeah, I think that we, Tara, what are you doing here?
With this particular hand, I have no idea. And it's a
Yeah,
short
this
stack.
is why,
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Tara. Finish what you were
Yeah.
saying.
I would probably try with the block bet
I
and
think a
see what
block is
happens.
good. I think block. Skate, what are you doing?
Hey, as hero, um,
Did you follow the action?
yeah, yeah, it was, we checked, no, they bet, we raised, and they called for some reason with,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Queen Jack. You know, we don't have a diamond, especially the ace of diamonds. So I mean, we expect. I mean, when we raise a flop and they call, um, we're thinking either draws or pairs, but we have top pairs, so that leaves us with maybe more of the draw option, and that came in right now. So, but at the same time, yeah, I think we're gonna out of position when draws come in. We're gonna want to do a lot of checking.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I think checking is fine. Obviously, we can't solve this for this chat depth. Um, unless we had a custom solver. And so I think what we do is I think we block. I think block's better. But
Mhm.
I think I'd block like a B10 here. Maybe that B10 sounds ridiculous. I've got
And,
five. I go
and then
five
they
bigs.
call again, and then
See, like I'm just not. I'm gonna admit I'm not very good versus these shallow
Yeah,
stacks.
none of us are. But that's why we come to these groups, right? Because we definitely play these shallow stacks. I play these shallow stacks a lot. Um, play these shallow stacks a lot in live cash. You do too, probably. I mean, Skate, are you playing live cash these days at all?
Lately, no. I'm actually taking a break by studying, and um, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do 2-5 from now on.
Cool. Good luck, man.
Thanks.
So yeah, so our villain kind of came to the same conclusion and chose check. Villain mind melded with Skate. And let's see if P2 takes their opportunity to get cray cray. I'm not gonna because you're never gonna be here with this combo, Dean.
or this
So
stack that size.
I think
Snap call.
yeah, that's a snap call. What do you think, Tor? Go ahead, man.
I think that when we check raise an overbet on the flop, we are very much only having value. Like I don't think are are you ever raising with a flush draw
Are you
or
talking about in position or out of position player?
He said check raise without a position
yeah,
whenever we check raise.
When we check
Whenever we
raise
check
and
raise, yeah,
overbet.
absolutely. I'm gonna check raise with flush draws. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So
Like 9-10.
then
nine ten would be a beautiful one.
I would probably just block bet range.
Now you can argue going back to sizing. I mean, we're in the Wild West because we've, obviously it's a limp pot. But this overbet, I mean, in theory, he's representing a strong range with this overbet. So that's going to reduce um, our check raise frequency. There's also a little bit of Peter Clark big hand versus big hand theory here.
But also his overbet check raise filters his out all his bluffs, right?
Say it
And he
again.
just has all super value because he overbet, so his range was super polar. And so it should have filtered out all his bluffs, which we see it didn't, but
Yeah.
usually it would have.
Boom. Yeah. Yeah. We're dealing with a very special player here.
This
Check.
just
He uses a small buy bet. Of course, you're calling, right? Dean, you said already, right?
Yeah, let's snap call this all day.
Okay. Let's get to the river. Kind of brickish. I mean, what 7-9 gets there? It's definitely in there. 7-4 is in there too,
3-4
because this is a limp pot.
and 3-4.
What are you doing this here on this river?
I mean, I don't see why we should donk now. We didn't.
Yeah, check.
Yeah.
Pure bluff catch. And he's like, no
Wow.
thanks.
Calvin
Wow.
doesn't jam.
And he's like queen
Thank
high,
you.
sure.
Thank you for not jamming.
Yeah, I know. This is like, I mean, he's got to bluff. You've got to bluff here. You've no showdown.
Yeah, none.
Even if you put in 5 bigs, doesn't matter. It does matter. You probably want to use a big sizing, but what would I do here? Well, I'm never going to be here, so I'm not going to talk about it because I'm never going to have 3 bigs and have an SPR of 1. So
Or continue on a check raise with Queen Jack of hearts.
yeah, so but that's just mental masturbation,
Non-heart board.
frankly. It doesn't make sense. All right. But are
Well,
you
it'd be
guys, by the way,
interesting.
are you
I
guys
wouldn't-
enjoying these check raise hands? Are you finding these beneficial?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you just ran like a basic sim, even if that guy had 100 big blinds, if it just heads up. If on the turn here we check raise, and then
Yeah.
the timing comes if we do just continue, like low
Yeah,
SPR,
but
but
he's never coming here with Queen Jack hearts.
yeah, oh yeah, I know.
Well, let's get a better one with full stacks because this one looks good because we're gonna have an ace-5 here that's gonna we're gonna have an ace-5 that's gonna be 3-bet
It's Tira's hand.
a P2 probably ace-king and ace-king's maybe flats. Tori, you want to do one?
Yeah, sure. Ace King open. And then Ace 5 suited. I would 3-bet,
What size are you gonna use against the 3x?
probably like 10.
Yeah, I think 10's fine. I would go 9, but I think 10's fine. 10 is, I think, perfectly fine. He finds a 9. Fold, fold, fold. Now you're out of position with ace king facing a 3-bet. What are you doing?
I would always 4-bet.
Yeah, so I think our 4-bets are in, and then our shoves are gonna come from. Our shoves are gonna come from ace king off, I think. Let's just check just for the hell of it.
Are you 4-bet shoving?
With this combo, I'm gonna 3-bet
100?
more because the way I would look at this, and I'm no expert, frankly. Student led, guys. Student run. Student led study group is I think you like to 4-bet. My guess is you'd like to 4-bet more with this combo. Because it's easier for you to continue with a suited variety because
Yeah.
any heart, it's gonna make it easier for you to continue. Whereas with your offsuit, it's harder to continue, so you shove
Yeah,
more.
but I'm never four bet shoving here.
Okay, that's fine. Um, I don't think it's a mistake. Not like my, I'm no expert, but. So what are our? This isn't gonna be exactly right, but we'll put hero and cutoff and UTG. UTG raise. Let's change this. Change. 50 general. 2.5 GTO. That's what I want. Any. Close. UTG raise. Button. Strategy. Ace 5 clearly in there. Raise. So I think my guess is that we get more four bets with the suited combo. Yeah, so we four bet suited combo because it continue. Our shoves are here. It's just hard. I think the argument is that it's just essentially harder to play post. Then let's just look. I don't know. We're not going to get equity here. We're going to get expected value. We can see that ace king gives us these two chips, right? We go from 3 to, yeah. So we just have a little bit more value here. Strategy. Okay, so let's see what P2 does. I think his size, the other question, Taro, what size would you use? Now in solve, it's a raise to 20. What would you do here?
Yeah, I would go like 23 at least.
Yeah, I'd go bigger. Number one is a bigger RFI, which results in a bigger three bet, which is, example of how everything amplifies into poker. Mistakes are amplified.
24 or
Yeah, I think I
yeah.
go 24. Which would be $75. So it's very interesting if you're playing. Okay, so this is a flat. This is we all could see that this is an error. I would say that solver knows this is an error. So hero now has got essentially a hidden ace king. It also could be that P2 is really good and knows that in his pool there is no bluffs here, like what our hero is finding. And for that reason, he likes to flat. And also it could be that he's got nefarious plans to check raise. Let's see what happens. There's your bluff. I'm sorry, there's your flop. I assume you're going to check if you're P2, right?
Yeah, check and
Now what would you do for hero?
I guess we can bet range.
I think we need to bet here because we have no equity. We just have no equity. We have taken a fear bluff, we missed. And we'll put this one in solver. And so there's our B25. Now, what are you doing with ace king of hearts here?
I would just call.
Too much equity?
Well, we're blocking some of his
Folds?
like king of hearts. He's blocking his continuous like coolers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I would probably just
Yeah.
call.
Okay. Well, we're gonna see check raise here. It's quite a large size. All right, this is outside the realm of where we're gonna see in solver. Fold. All right, I'm gonna get adventures here. Try this. Put this hand in. I'm living on the edge, guys. Living on the edge. So they just updated their hand history here. See that? Hands, study, analyze hands. I like that idea. Upload. All right, fingers crossed, everyone. See how we do. All right, it does not like one part of Mike's play, but let's see what it says. So it loves the three bet and pure. It's a little off, obviously, because it's using a 2.5 RFI, not a 3. Fold, fold. It's not gonna know what to do here. So calls. Now, why is this a mistake? It wants to polarize. It does not like this size. It just does not want to use this size. It really wants to polarize on this paired board. Now the question becomes, how much of this is going to be in range as opposed to this special combo where it totally missed. But it really wants to use a B75 and generate folds, is what I'm seeing. We'll see how much it uses this in its entire range. And then we bet, they raise, we fold. Let's go to the solver. All right. Check. Bet. Check. Bet here. The first question is, how much are we using that B75? It's our primary sizing on this paired board. So this is our default size. Let's look at range versus range here.
And it's betting like almost entire range.
And it's betting range. Yeah. Yeah. There is no, this paired board is, I always find this paired board interesting. So these jack paired boards and 10 paired boards. Remind me to check tens next. Range here. Very, these are very obvious, very tight ranges.
I'm guessing you could like bet half pot range.
Yeah. Use a B50. Yes, I can see that. So notice that we are tied for equity here. Even though his range is capped, doesn't have aces and kings, we do. We are tied. Strategy, there we are, always checking. It does not like this sizing. It just really wants to be 75 this pair board. Okay. So if we chose, so it never chooses the sizing, so we're not going to do it because it would break it. But let's give it a B50. And let's see. So obviously he does have ace queen suited. This is much more interesting. He does get check raised with ace queen suited of hearts here. But he's mostly checking. He's respecting this range. Well, he gets 13%. That's respectful. Let's just look very quickly where his check raise is coming from. Check raise is here. It's going to be his flushes, flush draws. He's 4. He's 5, pure. This guy's kind of 2 back door. Well, it's got a front door, back door, right? He's jack. This is the top of range. What about
Yes.
jacks? What are we doing with jacks? I bet we're checking jack. I bet we're calling jacks. Yeah. Very top of range, we're calling.
Yeah, but single jack would probably raise a lot. Ace
Yeah,
jack,
let's look. Well, let's look. Let's look at top.
ace
Let's look at
jack,
hand
king jack,
class.
jack 10.
Let's look at hand class. Over pair, under pair. Third pair. No main hand. Quads,
Trips.
full house, trips, over pair. Under
It's
pair.
trips, right?
Trips, yes. I'm kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah, it's mixing.
Raising half the time.
So it's mixing because we've got all the equity in the world here, right? So if we clear this and we go jack 10,
Yeah, but I'm assuming ace
It's up
king
here.
would like to call a lot. That's what solver prefers, I think, with or also if you're like in position and you're checking a lot ace king and betting ace five, for instance, because you're coolering all the other like king x, the bigger flush draws.
Okay, say that again, 'cause I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so solver likes to bet ace five
In
suited a
position?
lot. Yeah, for instance, and likes to check ace king suited a lot because you're not gonna cooler him with his king high flush.
Yeah,
So
that's
um,
valid.
that's what why I would guess he would like to call a lot there, but it's a different spot, so maybe it would like to raise anyway. Uh,
Jack, eight. You're talking about the check raise range, right?
yeah, but here it's not in the range because it's a
Yeah,
mistake
yeah.
to flop.
So we
So
have ace queen, right? Ace
yeah,
queen's
but
almost the same.
it's different still.
Yeah, it's different, but you're right, and I see your point now. It blocking the queen continues. It calls more, right? It's I think your argument with the ace queen suited of hearts here. It's
Yep.
calling more because
You can see ace jack is raising more than ace queen, right?
and then we go look at ace five, right?
Yeah, you
Much
can
higher
see
frequency of check raising,
you
right?
can see if you compare ace jack to ace queen, because ace jack is unblocking his ace queen, his king queen or whatever,
Yeah.
but ace king is blocking like king
Yeah,
queen.
so ace king is blocking continues. I see your point. And what you're saying is,
It's blocking the hands you want to cooler, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because if he has like queen high flush, that he might like get uh concerned. But
yeah,
if he has king high flush, he'll probably just flick it
it's gonna
in.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's an interesting spot. Uh, and he took a very aggressive line and it works. All right, I have one more hand, guys. I gotta go. Sorry, it's not a 3 hour marathon session today. Only 2 hours.
No worries, I gotta go too.
Okay. Last hand. I guess the person who needs the most practice here is the one going to Vegas.
Skate has it to the head.
Skate,
Huh?
you want to do a hand, dude?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so
All right, so
Somehow this is getting check raised.
Jack nine may Jack nine here. Can we open the suited nines?
I do not have these memorized like our good friend Scotty, but I think this is a little bit of an expansion.
Yeah, I
I
think
think that he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna use it. I think it's one pip too deep.
Yeah.
So he limps.
Of course.
uh okay, so I think I don't have to ask you about all these hands. Option to big blind, what would you like to do? Big blind option, what would you like to do?
check.
Check. So check. Get in hero. He's finding it. Pair plus draw. So this is interesting. Let's look at the equities for a second here. Pair plus draw versus top pair marginal kicker. We got a 57-43. People love to fast play to check raise here.
I thought it would be more even, more equal due to having the additional flush draw thing,
Yeah,
right?
but he's blocking your jack. So if a jack comes, you're beat.
That's a good point about the jack.
Okay.
All right, so you're out of position. I'm gonna assume you're gonna check.
Correct.
in position, what would you like to do with top pair marginal okay kicker?
Yeah, top pair, okay kicker. I think we, yeah, could definitely start betting.
Yeah. So this is kind of like whatevs.
I would bet, like since, the pot is very small, so I'm gonna bet somewhere around, you know, maybe three bigs.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. And Mike isn't having it. I'm sorry, I kind of spoiled it here, but what size are you gonna use?
Well, I can see the cards, but I mean, if I was here and I did want to raise, the pot, again, the pot is not too big, so I would go between, right now the pot is like 3.5, right after a bet, so anywhere from 6 to 9, not too much.
Yeah, I'm digging that. I think 6 to 9. It's kind of weird because you got this tiny. I think 6 to 9 is fine. You can use it a little bit smaller. This is fine too. All right, you've got Jack 9, you limped. I'm not gonna ask you because you're never limping. So I'm not gonna put you through that pain. But he's gonna obviously call. All right, so we now go to boom. This is a good one to end on. We now go to our hero having the fourth nuts in a limp pot. What are you doing with hero?
Okay, hero, I'm gonna want to start getting some value. So let's go. I don't know, like like 8, 9 bigs.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Hero is going to trap. Well, I think when you have this much equity, the trapping is definitely part of the game.
Yeah, so I mean, okay.
And
He's
then Jack 9 is kind of an interesting spot. I mean, we see the cards, so it's hard to know, but what do I honestly think I'd do with Jack 9 here? I think this is a very good place for and I see this a lot. This is a very good place for a small bet. So a small bet serves a number of purposes here, I think. So if you're looking at it from an exploited, the solver is going to take a small bet, I think, at some frequency here. With this top pair marginal kicker after getting check raised and getting check tip. And the
I
flush completes. But you kind of think of this almost, it's a feeler bet, right?
I I like it.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of
Bet small and fold to raise, or bet small and check back river.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, player dependent. I mean, I'm kind of confused as to why he checked, but maybe, yeah, there's a reason behind it.
Well, if he would have this in his checking range because he's essentially trapping now, right? And so he's trying to induce. Let's see if he induces. Nope.
Nope.
So, oh, we hate this card.
Yes, I mean that's also merit for, betting the turn.
What would you like to do as hero? Do you feel, let's define where hero's value is. Do you feel hero has a marginal hand now? Do you think he has thin value or do you think he has thick value?
I think we have thin value.
Yeah, I think we do. Well, what do you think? What do you think, Tara?
Um, what is the question? About the
So
value?
I'm kind of like, so I'm kind of using, I don't know, some new
I
terminology.
would block bet here.
Yeah, so then you would say this is thin value. The question was, is this a marginal hand? Is this thin value or is this thick value?
I think it's thin value,
Yeah, I think this is a really shitty card and it's
but
thin value.
I think we have the best hand. Like a lot of the time, like mostly.
Over half the time. So if we have it over half the time, we definitely need to value bet.
Yeah, but it's hard to get called by like single pair or two pair or whatever.
Yeah, and so the small bet is blocker. So what Skate, this is your hand. What are you gonna do here?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the blocker mentality. So
Yeah.
let us go 3, 4 bigs.
So I think this is fine. He just chooses like a B60. Let's
Yeah.
see if we get a hero. So I think he's doing this too because he's saying to himself, I check raised, right? Got called. He's got something. He doesn't have air. I nut up, third nut up on turn. I trapped, right? And I got this very shitty river, but still, I feel like I've got enough value that I'm trapping that I'm gonna go this size. And let's see if P2 heroes. And he does. So this is, let's see what his pot odds are. Yes, but half pot, his pot odds are around 25%. He has to win 26% of the time to be profitable. But I think this is what Hero was setting up. It would have been more interesting this hand if we had a brick river, but here, Hero is essentially saying, I've kept my range, I'm trapping you, and now I'm going to use this size, and you're going to call wider because I trapped you on turn. Because you think I have very few flushes that I'm going to check. But then my one card flushes get there, and it's kind of weird. So, all right. Do you guys think that's a good hand to end on?
Yeah.
Um, guys, thanks for coming today. I appreciate it. I'm gonna stop recording. YouTube, you know what to do. Comment,